So as we get started, could we stand for the national anthem, which will be sung in Arawak.
I'm Shirin Mahabir, and I'll be singing the first and the last stanza of the national anthem in Arawak for you. Lohor Kanyaro Unike Muribana Amunto Harili Ariyarutu Shake Unimurumurta Bauta Nadakwang Karikurji Hurishi Kembar Nakaroko Basanduchi Hududwabi Mo Lohoro Maidwanto Lohoro Kanyaro Bimo Wai Shikoha Wai Ifike Wai Emeko Kasakabaloko Kakindawo Aria Likitar Bi Ifitayo Kemaritindawo Sambia Sabawai Waji Lohoro Maidwanto.
Thank you. You may have your seats. Welcome in everyone. I want to recognize our Vice-Chancellor and let me make sure I am getting all the names right, because I'm not going to promise you I remember every name, because I'm terrible with that. But I know deans, Dean for Technology, Dean Class is here, Assistant Dean Benita Hunter for Faculty of Education Humanities. I thought I saw Dean Rosalind Can come in earlier. Pardon? Yes. I was leaving special. Yes, the Dean of Graduate School, my friend and sister, the newly minted Professor, Paulette Bino. Congratulations to you. I think there is a Director for IHRSSF. Why my brain froze there just. Debbie Hopkinson. I see Head of the Department of Law, Professor Abel, Denise Hopkinson, Head of CCS. I'm going to scan because I think Assistant Deputy Dean for Education and Humanities, Dr. Brown. I see other lecturers. Am I missing? Director of TOS, Dr. Malcolm Williams. Newly minted doctor. We still have to bless this doctor thing right here. Right, and all other persons, students, staff, welcome. We are gathered here this afternoon, I think, on the three things. One, we give thanks for what is the UG, a blessing to us all, a blessing to the nation. So thanks and prayers for the university community. We want to be able to honor and reflect on the lives of a number of staff members that passed during the year 2023. Things were rolling at a pace that we hardly got a chance to pause, and I think Vice-Chancellor felt that it is absolutely necessary that we take some time to slow ourselves down and really reflect on the lives and the contributions of these persons. And then finally, to offer prayers for the safety and security of our nation. We know we are in some times that are similar to others, but also very, very different. And so we wanted to take some time to offer prayers on behalf of our nation. So with that, I would like you to just help me welcome our 11th Vice-Chancellor. Sorry, I'm rushing ahead of this. I'm rushing ahead of this. There's a beautiful thing that we want to do. And I should say too that this afternoon, while we're reflecting on these lives, we're also celebrating. Just to let that be part of what we do. We're here for reflections and for praises to be offered. And for us to be in that mood, one of the songs we're going to have a lot of singing, so you can clear your throat. I'm going to turn off this mic when we're singing, just to, spare your ears. But we're going to start with the singing of the hymn for Guyana's children, and then we'll have some greetings from our Vice-Chancellor. So I think they're going to put the words up and play some music, and I will turn my mic off. Yes, I believe we are expected to sing. Is it karaoke? Somebody help me. They're telling me it is karaoke. There it is. All right,
Children of Guyana, rise, rise up and sing with happy tears, and bless the land that gave you birth, and vow to serve her through the years.
Yes, do give yourselves a hand. So please, again, help me welcome our 11th Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed, to bring greetings.
So colleagues, thank you very much for coming this afternoon. It's very interesting. The faces that I expected to see are here, and I feel very happy. We didn't expect hundreds because we were very vague in our invitation, but I wanted to say a few words about this. From December 27th to present, I've been receiving, people don't know about my own spirituality, right? And this is supposedly a secular entity. And so therefore I try not to impose that on the university. But I've been receiving messages, prayers, people having dreams and all kinds of things since December about UG. And I dreamed that I needed to do a prayer service on the campus the first day that we were coming back on Wednesday, January the 10th. And because I am a scientist, and also because sometimes I don't obey, because I remember years ago when I used to start all my meetings with prayers. When I first came to UG, we had received a circular from the registrar at the time, and this is 15 years ago, so I don't want you all to think it's now, that we shouldn't do any prayers on campus because we were a secular campus. So as Vice-Chancellor, I remember that, and I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. But as the semester is rolling on, I recognize that I should have obeyed. I really should have obeyed. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, the last part of last year, remember every time we had a death of somebody important to the university, at one point we would either put out a card or we would do some reflections or do, some Zoom meeting or something for their lives. But the last part of last year was so crazy for everybody that a number of important UG people, the young people may not know them, but those of us who came to UG in the 1990s and so on would remember Berkeley Stewart. Berkeley Stewart passed away. We didn't do anything, and Berkeley Stewart taught almost all of us social statistics and research methods on this campus for decades. We weren't able to acknowledge his passing in any way. We had Rudy Encinali, who was one of our first chancellors. We have Rudy Encinali Drive there, but you may not know where he was the first chancellor, but of course he was a foreign minister, a very towering intellect and very good to the university. And in the 50th anniversary, he actually was our guest speaker at our breakfast walk we had here on campus. He passed away. We were not able to acknowledge that, and several others who you will hear about. And I thought, this is really wrong. But of course, the ones that most powerfully impacted me, to the point where I really had to kind of push it aside because it seemed so senseless and inexplicable, was the death of Sean Wellcome in the helicopter crash. A lot of people may not know that I taught Sean. I taught Sean as a rambunctious 24-year-old in his undergrad. And my first contact with Sean was over a particular list that he had going around with girls' names on it. And somebody complained. Now, I wouldn't go into it. But these are what young people do. So I called him in my office and said, "Boy, what are you doing with this list? With these girls' names?" And he gave this laugh that we all knew, we grew to know so well. And from then on, became very close to him. I supervised his undergraduate research work, and a lot of the work that we did with UG. Through the CDC, GDF, we wanted to know about communities. Sean was there, and then he became faculty, and then he just graduated from our first cohort of the Masters in Development Studies. So that really, 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 I prayed so hard that they would be found alive. So it was hard. I couldn't say much about it at that time, but I think we still need to celebrate his life and what he gave for when he was here. And there's so many others. And also, this country was on the brink of something very disastrous, not too recently. And when we look around the world at what is happening in other parts of the world, we cannot take for granted the peace we have and what it is taking of those men and women, the diplomats, politicians. UG played a huge role. I cannot speak. People saw Turkine and Tain talks, but that's not really what the biggest role that UG played. We have a lot of our students who are servicemen, women, doctors, people who have to make hard decisions. And we really need to still give thanks that we had a peaceful Christmas, that our country is blessed with so many beautiful things and good people. And we still have to be thankful for UG and its 60 years and what we give to this nation and what we've given to the world. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this small gathering. I know that it was not going to be thousands, but the faithful are few. But the faith of a mustard seed is all we need, and we have it. I also want to say that this morning I had a meeting, an impromptu meeting, partially why I'm late, with the Ministry of Education. It wasn't a meeting only with UG. It was a meeting of all post-secondary agencies in the country, so TVET and so on, and listening into that meeting at what other people have to deal with. I ended up in a church afterwards praying for everybody who is working in education in this country, because while it's not my story to tell, when you think that you are in a position, a terrible position, sometimes other people are in worse. And so I want to offer up prayers also for our colleagues in tertiary education in particular, who are going to have to deal with some very interesting circumstances this year as well. Also, the year began in a very strange way. Two of our colleagues who are custodial staff, their house got burned down, flat to the ground in Sophia about 2 weeks ago. They have 3 children, and because of the circumstances of their families and their lives, one child is this way, one child is this way, and every member of the family is in a different place. So imagine the trauma of having your house burned down while you're at school and then having to be displaced in that way. It's terrible. So I wanted to use this opportunity. I'm going to write the university about this. But we used to have a staff support fund that I had started in 2019. It had not been well supported then, and I had gotten disheartened, and I didn't try again. So over the last 6 years or so, when things have happened to staff and they've needed something, we have tended to, personally do things for them. But the university does deserve, we have a student support fund, which is fairly robust because the students support their fundraisers, but the staff has been strange about it. But we need to do it. And so what I want to launch this afternoon as well, over Christmas, a lot of people gave me liquor for Christmas. I don't drink, but they're still into the mode of a male vice-chancellor, I think. So they send me all these exotic whiskey and this and that, which I don't drink. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to raffle all of those off, and that money will go towards the fund for the staff support fund. But that family needs a place to stay right away. They have some land over the river. I asked our engineers in PPMU, Nikki Cole and Kwesi, they have already designed a small house for them. They've costed it, a 2-bedroom. It's about $2 million. And while we cannot probably give them the whole $2 million, I've asked them to at least give them, it's a seat in front there, at least acknowledging the presence of DVC Cummings. We at least could give them the foundation, build a bathroom and a room, and then they could build the rest. So after that, we will ask for furniture so that people have. So when you see the call come out for the raffle, even if you don't drink whiskey, there might be some other things among gifts that are given, because I don't ever take gifts that people give me. They're always in the office, and we re-gift them. There's a big joke in my office about me and my re-gifting, but anyway. We give them, or we give them to staff who have birthday or something. So we have other things, but this year in particular, there was a lot of, very high level liquor. And as I said, I would normally just give them away, but I think that's a good use of them. So if anybody has anything they want to donate, Ms. Hunter, if you have a painting from y'all, from any students or anybody, no, I'm serious, that you want to put into the raffle, or you have anybody give y'all anything for Christmas that you can't let them know, or anything that you want to, it has to be new, that you want to donate to the raffle, please feel free to contact my office. But we're going to start it next week, and we'll send around tickets and so on. And feel free to reach out to the family if you all have, high-level contacts. I'm not looking over with people who have mom and so that could build houses for people. Feel free to to reach out and see if that family could get some support, please. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in all of everything, life is not meant necessarily to be a garden of roses only. Roses have thorns. But we must be able, as human beings, and as UG in particular, to be able to see the beauty and goodness and to be thankful in for everything that we have. Because when you think that you have it rough, and you have it rough, I'm not disregarding that, there are other people who have much more to deal with. And once we have a positive mindset, once we keep centered, and I think that while this is a secular institution, those of us who are very grounded in our belief system of good over evil. And therefore, let us encourage each other. Let us thank God, and let us this afternoon give praise, give thanks, and reflect for the lives of those who serve this university and who've passed on. May their collective souls rest in peace. May we have a peaceful year ahead of us in every way, and may we pray and accept the blessings of God that will come to this university. I am unshakable in my faith about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice. I was getting a query to decide, and maybe it's something we can handle, since there might be some immediate interest about the ages of the children and so on, so that some help can be offered immediately. No, there was a query about the ages of the children. There seemed to be some eagerness to, 10 and 7. Right. We can get that information circulated so that persons are able to. Right. The other thing I would say, if you're like me and you don't play raffle, you can just donate the money. So that's something to take note of. Donate money or donate something in kind. I see our Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Engagement is here, Professor Cummings. Welcome. I had missed, and I'll tell you this, she has the right to thump me behind my head because she knows me since I was a little itty-bitty boy. Professor of Practice, Pat Francis, who's head of UG IRI. I apologize. I come from the agriculture family growing up, so that's where. And I see a couple of other folks that have joined us. Another newly minted Dr. Hines is to the back. Professor Jagasar and Professor Gomes just came in. Professor Gomes. Dr. Murray, who's director for IDC. I don't think I remember to recognize Dr. Dalrymple, who's head of civil engineering. I'm going to pass that to Professor Kenneth Benjamin, my apologies, who's head of law. I saw someone else, Ms. Inu, head of sociology, is here. Anyone I'm missing? Our good Dr. Reverend Noel Holder, who was a part of the planning for this event. He's sitting very graciously at the back. All of the students, we're not streaming, are we? So I know we're recording, so just take note of that. I see Ms. Juanita Cameron, I believe she's head of inclusion, am I correct? Yes, head of the inclusion unit, she's here. So I have to make a bit of an announcement before we go on with the next 3 items in particular. Because when I looked at it, I figured, people can think there's some kind of bias here. You'll see, I'll announce 3 persons to do things, but recognize I didn't pick them. They all came from natural sciences, but I had nothing to do with them. I'm just saying that up front. So I had nothing. I looked and I went, no, this doesn't look. That I know. Natural sciences does have talented people. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a steel pan rendition by Miss Naomi Roberts. She's a student in computer science from the Faculty of Natural Sciences, and she'll be doing a steel pan rendition of Here I Am to Worship. With Ms. Roberts, please put your hands together, welcome her. think.
Add some flavor. Come and tell us a little bit about where you got that beautiful talent, what the song was, and why you chose it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Naomi Roberts. I started playing steel pan about 8-9 years ago in primary school, grade 3, and I am currently a part of Anthem Parkside Steel Orchestra. And as for the song, overall it is a very nice song, and it's like it warms my heart every time I was practicing it. I was like, oh, this is such a good, yes, it is. So yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys and have you guys enjoy it as well.
It did uplift us. Back to the MC. I don't want this to feel like if it is a lecture. I wanted this to be outside, and these people told me the rain was going to fall. And look now, what bright day. So let's do this, like we sit down in church or something. It's a holy, prayerful thing, but I'd like to hear from the students and people who are doing things. So if I can exercise the Vice-Chancellor's prerogative to modify.
I can't say nothing. Right. So I had to check in there to see. I'd only known of one primary school. When you said you started in primary school, I'd only known of one primary school doing steel pan, but there was another. So that's great. That's fantastic. So I issued my little advice before, so I am exempt, you all, again. But here's a computer science graduate now, Mr. Harry Dave Jr., who will come and do a Harikrishna Chant. And Harry, when you're done, please feel free to tell them a little bit about yourself and so on.
Hare Krishna, good day. It is a great fortunate opportunity for us to be here, joining everybody in prayer. It is sad that all of these negative things must happen to our fellow friends and colleagues. But at the same time, sometimes it's hard for us to help them truly. We can help them physically, but the pain, the emotional pain within the heart is still there. And there, I think, is where this occasion or this opportunity comes in great use. Prayer helps us to deal with these emotions within our hearts. Whether we're a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whichever orientation we come from, prayer always helps. And so, the prayer that we'll be singing today is a universal prayer to the Lord, and not just the Lord, but to His energies as well, to engage us in His service. Because by engaging in the service of the Lord, compassion arises within our hearts. That is one of the main side effects of our service to God, is that compassion should arise within our hearts. And if that compassion is not there, then something is wrong. There is a prayer that goes as follows. Swastyastu vishwasya kala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mito dhiya manascha bhajram bhajata dadokshaje aveshatam no matirapya haituki. We pray to the Supreme Lord that all negative elements, negative emotions, negative energies within the atmosphere be removed by us submitting ourselves to His service. Because by such service, compassion and love arises within the heart, and thus a peaceful atmosphere can prevail. So please, if you're familiar with the prayer that we'll be singing, it's a very popular prayer, the Harikrishna mantra. You can please join along with us. If not, you can also try still to join along. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I'd also like to thank His Grace Damodar Prabhu, who is assisting on the drums.
I invited him and
I'm designated interviewer, come. You're an alum of UG? Yes. Tell us about it.
It was a great honor to study at the University of Guyana. I especially actually missed classes when COVID hit because it was in the middle of my third year, and I didn't get to come back to UG. And just for a few minutes to collect my certificate, and that was it. But I really missed the environment. I didn't realize how much I would miss the environment until it wasn't there. You know, they say you don't miss something until it's missing. But the environment here at UG was really, really nice. The camaraderie and the togetherness of my classmates and everything was really, it was some friendships that I fostered here I still have today. And they're some of my close friends. So it was a really, really nice experience. And I especially I was telling my friend when we were coming, I miss the sunsets before the evening rush with the business students. The sunsets when it would be really quiet. Most of the people from the day would be gone, and it's like the calm before the storm. Sunsets used to be really peaceful, especially on a Saturday afternoon. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming back. And they still actually serve a lot of the printed stuff that we do. He's a graphic artist and has a business, so you could support them. Thank you.
thank you very much, Lisa. All right. He mentioned about the negatives and positives. You know, just over the the first 3 days of the week, I had the privilege to meet with my friends at Surama Village, and Mr. Daniel Alicock, in a way only he could tell it, gave an insight as we were talking about the cultural guidelines for collaboration. He spoke about the fact that you have to recognize that the positive and the negative come together, but we ought to focus on the positive. I can't tell you it the way that Daniel said it. As we had the steel pan music by Miss Roberts, I was thinking UG Got Talent coming up this year, boy. So take note. I'm looking forward to that. Buy your tickets in advance. You might get some kind of advance discount. Right, Joelle? There we go. Yes. I met the next young lady who will come to the floor here during UG Got Talent, which was strange. She's a member of my department. But I met her during UG Got Talent, and at that time she showed up as a dancer. So I had to double check just now, was this a dance? I saw the name and I went dance, and I went, nope. So please, we're going to welcome here Ms. Geetanjali Sukhdeo. She's coming as the first person to offer prayers for the university, friends and families of those who have passed away, and for peace for the nation. She's a student, a graduate now, remind me, students though, in biology department.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Geetanjali Sukhdeo. I'm a second-year student in biology. This is indeed a hard time for everyone as we remember the passing of our staff and students.
Saviturvarenyam Barego devasya dhimahi Diyo yona prachodayat. We meditate on the most adored Supreme Lord, the Creator, whose divine light illumines all realms, physical, mental, and spiritual. May this divine light illuminate our intellect. Thank you.
You're not escaping. So, you're a dancer. What is this? What are you doing?
No, I'm just saying a prayer.
Saying a prayer.
Yes.
And
Kind of.
they say, the questions from the audience now. Do you sing Geetanjali?
It's in between, you know. It's in between.
I think you just did. So Geetanjali, what year are you in?
I'm second year.
Have you had classes on campus since you started?
Yes, I have.
What classes?
I had my chem classes.
Okay, cool. So you're looking forward to coming back to do more?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
All right, thank you. Beautiful.
So we're going to take some time to really reflect on the lives of our staff that would have passed, and to celebrate their contributions to the university. You know, I think it's important that we value what was rather than reflecting on what the loss is, because you know their teachings out there, the death is inevitable. So we're going to hear from their colleagues, persons from the department, and to get us started, we're going to be reflecting on the life of Brigadier retired Gary Beaton, and he was a member of faculty in the Faculty of Engineering and Technology. And to bring the reflections, I see Dr. Dalrymple turning around, so I had to pause and make sure I have your name here, my brother. Please welcome Dr. Kofi Dalrymple, Head of Civil Engineering.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You know, when I heard VC say, you know, sometimes you think you have it bad. I remember a story as a child. We told a story about a man who was at the point of giving up, suicidal, huh? And he goes up to the building and he decides to eat his last banana. So he ate the banana and he threw the skin, and somebody took up the skin and ran away and ate it. And he decided, well, somebody else has got it worse than me. It's actually a privilege to share about Brigadier Gary Beaton, who I didn't actually know personally, but it was an opportunity when I was called to do this to go and dig and find out, because I'd heard of him. And luckily for me, I've got some Army friends who helped me understand a little bit about his life. Brigadier retired Gary Beaton was a civil engineer, which is the best profession in the world. I don't just say that because I'm a civil engineer, but because we need a lot more of them in the country. So if you've got children who are thinking of studying, they can always start off as a civil engineer. Don't worry, they can come over and do a master's in environmental science. Absolutely, that's what I did. All right. He served in this profession. He got his undergraduate degree here at the university. This is well before my time. He attended, before coming here, the Charleston Secondary School and then the Bishop's High School. He joined the Army in 1985. I was just a little boy. But what I found out when I spoke to my friends is that apart from just being a soldier or even involved here, he was a really passionate engineer. And he served in many years in the Army as an engineer, in the Army Corps of Engineers, and also as in construction in the Army. And even as I was talking to my friend, he was sharing with me how committed he was to the engineering profession. So, you know, as we look back and we reflect, you know, feel like we've really lost someone who has really made an impact on our profession. But this profession continues, and I think that many young people can learn from Brigadier Gary Beaton's example. And this is one of the things that I think is interesting about, you know, why we come to school. And I think today, you know, a number of young people will take up professions simply because they want to make money, which is okay. I mean, you have to live. But there is something about his life that when I look at that was filled with passion and making a difference, you know, as an engineer and just as a soldier and someone who served this country, the university, and his community. And for me, that's really, really important. You know, I was in the Ministry of Housing today, and every time I go there, I ask the staff, I said, y'all remember my face? Because I want good service, right? So I said, y'all remember my face? I said, my biggest fear is being forgotten. Biggest fear is being forgotten. Because I think all of us at some point, we want to be remembered. It's the name that lives on after we move on. And so I am especially happy to honor Brigadier Gary Beaton, retired, and remember him fondly as someone who's impacted our profession of civil engineering and service, on engineering service. Thank you.
So I should have said that there are 7 persons that we are reflecting on and honoring. The next person I've known for more than half my life because we were at high school together. But I'm not the one doing the reflections. I'm going to invite Ms. Denise Hopkinson, head of the Center for Communication Studies, and she will bring the reflections and honoring of the late Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome.
Good afternoon, all. I promise you I didn't plan to match with the podium, but good things happen when they aren't planned. Professor Mohamed would have shared with you her experience about dealing with Sean when he was a student. And Sean held many portfolios within the Center for Communication Studies. First, he was a student in 2010, and he graduated with a diploma in 2012. And then he graduated with a degree in 2014. Now, whilst he was writing those lists, he was also a man of high academic excellence because he was a distinction student. Now, there are some students that keep us up at night. And I can give you an example. I'm not going to tell anybody's name. Don't listen for that. One of our lecturers told me yesterday, she said, they're marking. And sometimes we team mark. So the other lecturer who's marking with her said, why is this student consistently, not consistently, consistently bad, right? Y'all think as students, right? We know that y'all talk our names, right? But lecturers, we do it better. I'll tell you how. We will say to another lecturer, why is this student doing so poorly? And then we will try to work around, okay, this person has this, that going on, and we're going to pull them in for advisement, we're going to find a way to help them and all that. So our talk name is so much better, right? Just keep that in mind. We're going to talk your name, but it's much better. Sean was the type of person who gave you that hope that the work you're doing at UG, it's helping somebody. Right? Sean came into the department with high standards, right? Very high standards that aligned with the department's own way of operating. I'll give you an example of when I had a personal encounter with Sean. He came up to me, and I was still a young lecturer at that time, and he was set to do the internship course. Sean worked at CDC at the time. He said, you know, my department can host about 4 or 5 students. This was a big number. Most agencies would take 1 student, 2 students, you know. Some people don't want that commitment of having to supervise and all of that. He said his department would take 4 students and give them some money. Right? That was major. This was in the early days when the department had started its new curriculum that Professor Mohamed would have been instrumental in rolling out. So we said, yes, please take more. So he and his colleagues went to work for CDC, and under that internship, they developed a communication strategy. Now, Sean was a man of purpose. He wanted to be functional. That communication strategy, when he graduated, he then linked with the department and said, we will take more students, and those students kept producing the products out of that particular strategy. Whatever Sean touched had ripple effects for positive all around. All right? The story ain't finished there. So he was a student, he graduated. He came back in 2017, and he started teaching on our program. Now, when people come in as a new lecturer within our department, we pair them with one of our more senior lecturers. So he was paired with Ambassador Broderson, Ambassador Michael Broderson. And if you're wondering, yes, our department has an ambassador. Big up CCS. So he started working on Foundations of Journalism course with Ambassador Broderson, and then he did another logic evidence research course. But where he really found his momentum in changing students' understanding of our impact on this world, on this planet that we live in, is our 209 course, where students learn how to report on climate change, right? Report on the environment, reporting on some health issues, but he specifically focused on those areas that doubled with his work at the CDC, right? So there are many students from all the way back in 2017 who will remember that one course with Mr. Welcome and say, and I've seen the tributes on Facebook, they'll say he changed their way of thinking about climate change in Guyana and Guyana's resiliency, right? And that's just testament to his love for his work, his love for this country, and of course we can understand his love for this country. He's very nationalistic. So Sean's life gave examples of community service as well. And these are all things that I hope that we can take away from him, for those who knew him. But for those who, didn't get the opportunity to meet Sean, I'm going to give you a few questions to ask yourself in your own time of reflection, of course, just to understand that his legacy left a mark on those who knew him, even if we taught with him on one course, right? So as you reflect on your own lives, I want you to consider, who are you serving? Where is your evidence of community service? What's your legacy going to be? And where is the love that you're showing? Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I think Vice-Chancellor mentioned earlier in her greetings that Sean was a graduate within the first cohort of the Masters in Strategic Development Studies within IHRSSF. I use the commander for the reserve battalion, and I think there are a couple of staff and some of our students, a lot of our graduates that are part of that reserve. The third person that we are remembering and honoring became a household name for me, not because of their career in law, but rather because there was a television station that they ran. That was it for me from my youngest. So I'm going to invite Justice Professor Kenneth Benjamin, head of law, to bring remarks in remembering and honoring Senior Counsel Rex McKay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I consider this a very distinct privilege to be given this opportunity, and I'm going to explain to you why. But before I do that, let me acknowledge the Vice-Chancellor, and let me acknowledge fellow members of staff. Let me also acknowledge students and other well-wishers. Now, Rex Herbert McKay, and that's how we got WRHM, Rex Herbert McKay, he died at the age of 95 on the 21st of December. He practiced law for over 62 years, having been admitted to practice in 1958. He became Queen's Counsel, and then he transitioned to Senior Counsel, because prior to Republican status, we had Queen's Counsel, and subsequent to our Republican status, we got Senior Counsel. Rex Herbert McKay was a lawyer's lawyer. First time I saw him was because our law lecturer here, and I'm going to tell you a little about that eventually, took us to the Court of Appeal to hear an appeal case of Danny Ramsing against the state. I will always remember the name. The entire class was taken to the Court of Appeal to hear that case. And we were taken by our teacher, Mr. Stanley Moore. I'm going to tell you a bit about him in a while. And there were 5 judges hearing this case in Kingston. And the appeal lasted 4 days, 4 full days, beginning at 9 in the morning and ending at 5 in the afternoon, with just an hour and a half for lunch. So you can imagine how much of an argument it was. It turned out to be one of the stellar cases dealing with the admissibility of confessions. And I was quite impressed with the manner in which Mr. Rex McKay handled the judges. And at one point, I began to think that, well, somehow some of these judges are being deferential to him when I expected it to be the other way around. He was quite the lawyer's lawyer. When I became a young lawyer, I was tasked with the responsibility of being junior counsel in an arbitration case in which Rex was one of the arbitrators, and the two other arbitrators were two English judges, one of whom became a very distinguished judge. I don't know, some of you may know Lord Bingham, the late Lord Bingham, a very distinguished judge. He was one of the arbitrators. And the third was Sir Christopher Stoughton, who was then a Lord Justice. The two English judges were staying at Herdmanston House. And my task as junior counsel, when you're junior counsel, you don't get to argue anything or write anything, was to deliver the books and the arguments and the papers to the judges. And I got to know Mr. McKay fairly well at that time. Now, he was a very multifaceted chap because he mentored many young lawyers. And there's so many lawyers, and lots of them have graduated from this very institution who have been mentored under Mr. McKay. I had the privilege of appearing in 2 cases as a junior, and once you're Mr. McKay's junior, you will always be his junior. I was a judge coming back to visit Mr. McKay, and when I got into his office, he said, "Benjes, what you're doing in the next few hours?" He said, "I came to visit you." He said, "Great, let's research this case." So you never stop being his junior. Now, if you look in the law reports of Guyana, you will see his name paired with people like B.O. Adams, C. Lloyd Loku, L.F.S. Burnham, J.O.F. Haynes, all the legal luminaries that you will hear and have known of, most of whom have gone to the great beyond. Ashton Chase, I should recall, because we have a prize in labor law that's in the name of Mr. Ashton Chase, very outstanding senior counsel in his own right. I appeared against him and he trounced me. Anyway, that's another matter. Lots of the leading cases in the Court of Appeal were argued by Mr. Rex McKay. He didn't only have local experience, he also appeared on the Court of Appeal that determined the appeal that was brought by Cord and others who were accused and convicted of the murder of Morris Bishop. He was one of the judges. And J.F. Haynes was one of the judges, and in the middle of the appeal, he died, and they had to bring on another judge. I recall, again, in the stream of him always being his junior, I went to visit him. I was in Antigua, serving at the time where the 3 judges met to discuss the judgment. And he said, "Come, Benji, time to read the judgment with me and do corrections." So you were always a junior when it came to dealing with Rex. He got an Order of Distinction, and prior to that, he got Cacique Crown decorations from Guyana. And quite rightly so, because he is one of the most outstanding legal minds that we have seen in this country. Now, I want to move on to Mr. Stanley Alfred Moore. I met Mr. Stanley Alfred Moore, who, as it turned out, was the law partner of Mr. Rex McKay, because some of you may have seen the sign of McKay and Moore in Crowell Street, quite close to Avenue of Republic. Mr. Stanley Moore was my first criminal law teacher in 1972 here at this very university. We were all crammed into a little room in the Faculty of Social Sciences. 11 of us were in that 3rd year where we only did LLB Part 1 because we were required to go to Barbados to the remaining 2 years. And Stanley Moore was quite a devoted teacher. And he was known for his theatrics. He was known to open his eyes brightly and roundly and gesticulate with his hands. It was quite an entertaining class, that criminal law class. And sometimes when he felt he was behind, he took you into his living room in Lama Avenue, and you had classes on Saturday morning. And so it was quite entertaining to be taught by Mr. Stanley Moore. And I came fairly close to him because subsequently we both served as judges together in British Virgin Islands. Stanley Moore left Guyana, he went to Montserrat, he became the Attorney General there, he was elevated to the bench, he served in Grenada, then I joined him in British Virgin Islands and we served side by side until he retired. And then he went to the Bahamas, continued his judicial career, and when he retired from there, he became a Justice of Appeal in Botswana, wrote some very outstanding judgments there. He was known for his very fine language, excellent language. If you get the opportunity to read his judgments, they read like literature. Very outstanding writer he was. Now, Mr. Stanley Moore lectured at the University of Guyana for upwards of 10 years. So he's one of the pioneers here at the University of Guyana in the law department, and I wish to recognize him as such. The Vice-Chancellor spoke in jocular terms about a gentleman who wanted to send his daughter to find a husband. Now, I'll just give you a bit of fun fact here. When we were students, the secretary to the law department was then Miss Cheryl Pickering, who subsequently became Mr. Stanley Moore's wife of over 40 years. Thank you for the opportunity.
So I had missed highlighting the work of Justice Moore, so I'm happy that Justice Benjamin went on to give us those memories. We have three more, and so now coming to reflect on the life and honor our former Chancellor, the Honorable Mr. Samuel Rudolph Insinali. Please welcome our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed.
So I'd like to thank Joelle Valentine in my office for preparing this. She said 3 minutes. She made sure 3-minute tribute to Rudy Insinali. But I knew Rudy Insinali as from a child. So I'm going to read her tribute, but I'm just going to say a few things about Rudy. I knew Rudy Insinali from a child because he is one of the famous Insinali family in Guyana, in which Vic Insinali and his sister, what's his sister's name again? I'm forgetting. Who was on the editorial board actually of UG Press, famous international relations scholar from UWI. And ran UE Press for a while, the sister. But Rudy Insinali was a foreign minister, and he was the chancellor of the university. And he wrote several books after he retired. One of which I had the privilege about 8 years ago to do the review for when he launched it here in Georgetown. And like I said, after that, he became quite a friend of the university again. He would send notes anytime he saw anything about UG in the paper. He would send notes, it didn't matter where he was in the world. He would send us books, and he, of course, was the keynote speaker, as I mentioned, at our 50th anniversary. So basically 10 years ago, he was on this campus again, I think maybe for the last time. But a former vice-chancellor would have also done a project here at the university where he was naming pathways and so for these luminaries. And I think it was only last week, Friday, I was on the Berbice campus, and I saw that the driveway leading in to the Berbice campus was called the Rudy Incinali driveway. So I think that we have him indelibly in our memories. So those young people who see Rudy Incinali driveway now, you know who that was. So to read Joelle's, so Rudy Incinali was a career, he passed away on, in 2023. Oh yeah, see? This is why I don't like technology, because I like to know things from my head. Just 1 second, it's disappeared. Okay, try this again. So a career diplomat and statesman for most of his life, Samuel Rudolph Incinali, fondly referred to as Rudy Incinali, served as Chancellor of UG from 1994 to 2000. Like those before him and after him, Rudy contributed to building this institution and its sense of community. We continue to build on this legacy strongly today. Throughout his extensive career as a diplomat, he served in very many critical high-level roles. From 1972 to 1978, Rudy served in Guyana as Guyana's ambassador to Venezuela. Interesting. Nurturing a delicate relationship indeed, and held the Order of the Liberator, Grand Cordon, conferred on him by the government of Venezuela in 1973. So he had to have done an excellent job there. As those of us who remain here continue to pray and for continued peace and respect for humanity between our two countries, we know that wherever Rudy is in the afterlife, he is echoing our fervent prayers for peace. Rudy Incinali passed at the age of 87 last year. As we reflect on the full life he has led, we can say he lived a life of meaning. He dedicated time to equip himself with knowledge and to advance himself in a useful way to his community, in service to the country and beyond these borders. For that, we celebrate the legacy of distinction of a true son of the soil and former member of UG and the national community, in whose memory we will always remain, and he'll always remain in our memory, and we forever cherish his contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And now I want to invite our DVC, Professor Emmanuel Cummings, to reflect on and honor the life of Dr. Hardat Prasad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard Chair, Vice-Chancellor, other distinguished heads of the university, colleagues all. It's indeed an esteemed privilege to reflect on the life of Dr. Hardat Prasad, who passed away just over a week ago and was only cremated 2 days ago. Now, Dr. Hardat Prasad, from what I know, attended Charlestown Secondary School, then attended Queens College, and did his medicine, both the undergraduate and postgraduate in pediatrics in Russia, and over a period of 10 years, and subsequently returned to Guyana in the 90s, and took up his tenure at the Georgetown Hospital, where he served as The impact of Dr. Harda Prasad's contribution in the area of medicine and in medical education, in training of doctors, teaching them both at the undergraduate, pediatrics as a course, and subsequently pediatrics as a specialty was very impactful, particularly in those days when the MBBS program was still, some persons considered that those graduates were considered barefoot doctors, you know, because prior to that it was the medics, and then why should the University of Guyana have a medical school? I can recall sometime around early 2000 when myself and the late Dr. Hanuman, we engaged the University of West Indies Cave Hill campus, who had written to us, wanted our graduates to start internship in Barbados. And as soon as we entered the room, I can remember it said, what does UG want with a medical school? You know? And so those were the days in which the late Dr. Harda Prasad started as a lecturer. And it was a time when I'm certain law had the same issue in terms when the law school was established. And you know, many, many years after, I was told by other colleagues at UE that UG now have some of the best graduates within the region. And so Dr. Harda Prasad's contribution was quite significant and impactful in the sense that he helped in the development and ultimately the recognition of the MBBS program that ultimately became an accredited program. Now, in his practice, he was well known by everyone. According to what was said, is that there were patients going to Woodlands. Of course, he worked primarily at Georgetown Hospital, Prashad Hospital, and subsequently, the latter part of his career, he practices at the Woodlands Hospital. And there were generations of patients. So you had the grandmother who was a patient of Dr. Harda Prasad when she was a child, the mother, and now you have the granddaughter. So that was the extent and the commitment and the appreciation that the Guyanese society had for such an outstanding physician. More than that, as I've already spoken about his contribution, but more than that, he was a very amicable person who you could have spoken to at any time. You know, sometimes persons feel that when you have certain professions, he was always, you know, the kind of person that would have communicated and interacted with all levels of persons within the society. And as far as I know, and most of us would know, was a really household name in Guyana. The contribution of Dr. Harda Prasad as a physician is really a great example to, and I did say this, I gave a tribute at his funeral service a couple of days ago, and I did say that his practice in medicine was a true reflection of the Hippocratic Oath. Some things that we don't see these days in the practice of medicine, and indeed, he practiced his profession as an outstanding physician in the true manner in which it was meant to the oath taken, the Hippocratic Oath. And so this is seen as a real inspiration and a model for future doctors, for future physicians, because he was someone that was really, really admired by not just his patients, but also his students, who are now, and I must say this, just to also even to speak about the extent of his contribution. You know, in 2006, there were no pediatrician in the public health sector, none. They were all, including Dr. Harda Prasad himself, were all practicing in the private sector. And so its contribution together with other pediatricians, Dr. Narsingh from University of Toronto, work assiduously with the Georgetown Hospital, University of Guyana, to introduce a postgraduate program in pediatrics. At the time of his death, there were over 30 pediatricians, specialists in pediatrics, at the Georgetown Hospital and other government hospitals across the country, also at the private hospital. And so we really thank him for his service. We recognize the great contribution that he would have made in the field of medicine, particularly in the pediatrics area. He was loved by all the children. Personally, whenever someone would call me and said, Dr. Cummings, I need to get a pediatrician, and I would call Dr. Harikrishna Chant. Anytime he would answer, and he would say, let him come 2 o'clock or let him come tomorrow at Woodlands Hospital. And then they will come back and they will say to me, of course, I saw him, and they would have visited other pediatricians before, not really downplaying the others, but he would see them, and then I would ask the question, how much did he charge you? And they would say, he didn't take any money. He did it for free. That was the character of the person. And the entire Guyanese community, the university community, the loss of such a well-educated, well-rounded, a physician who contributed, and also I must say this also, who was given the opportunity to migrate. His entire family had migrated. And he decided, well, look, I'm going to stay and give service to Guyana. So those were the type of person in which, as we reflect on other colleagues who would have contributed to the life of the university, to education, and certainly Dr. Harikrishna Chant's contribution both to this profession in terms of the practice of medicine and in the training of doctors can be considered as exemplary and extraordinary. And therefore, I would wish to also say that may his soul continue to rest in peace, and to thank him, and to really, really thank him for his outstanding service that he would have given to this country and to this university. Guyana, the practice of medicine, particularly in pediatrics, is better, much better, because of contribution of persons like the late Dr. Harikrishna Chant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DVC Cummings. And finally, I'll invite Ms. Chanel Inu-Smith, Head of the Department of Sociology and Social Work, and she will be reflecting on the life of Mr. Berkeley Stewart.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, colleagues all, students, friends, good afternoon. It is indeed a privilege for me to have this opportunity to just reflect on Mr. Stewart. When Joelle contacted me, I said, I don't think I'm the best person to do this, because there are other people that know him better. But this afternoon, I want to reflect more from a perspective of a student than a colleague. Mr. Stewart taught at the University of Guyana, first of all, for a very long time, I understand, a number of years. And so anyone passing through the Faculty of Social Science or Sociology would have met Mr. Stewart and would have appreciated the contributions made by Mr. Berkeley Compton Stewart. Mr. Stewart left us last November. He passed in November 2023. And during his time at the University of Guyana, he served during that period as Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences. He was head of the Department of Sociology, lecturer, sociologist, statistician, and I believe the title he would appreciate most would be teacher. And the title I would give him would be teacher. Mr. Stewart was a dedicated teacher. And for somebody who really don't like anything to do with numbers much, unless you're adding it to my salary, go ahead, you can add those zeros to my salary. But apart from that, as somebody who don't like much to do with numbers, not pointing any fingers, Mrs. Stewart helped me to enjoy stats somehow and managed to ace it too, right? He was a really, really good teacher. One who, you know those teachers who you have lecture time, you have tutorial, but if you need an extra tutorial, you can get it. That kind of teacher. A teacher that had revision classes to make sure that you understand the formula and you got it. A teacher, I believe, that basically willed you to pass the course and found ways to make sure that you understand what it is that he wanted, the concepts that he wanted you to grasp. I remember one afternoon, I said, sir, don't set this test hard, you know. He said, man, I tell y'all, you just gotta know the formula. If you know the formula, you pass the thing, right? And so, as I thought about Mr. Stewart, I remember this gentleman who I would say had office without walls. He would walk down the corridor with one hand held in the other behind his back. And I know I didn't get it quite right, but the gentleman had swag. There was a swagger to his walk, you know. There's just this really cool guy walking down the corridor, but if you stop him and you had a question, the discussion would start and occur right on the catwalk. There was no need for an office. And according to that conversation, he could hold you down for a gap for a while. So once he wasn't late for a class or heading to a class, you could stop Mr. Stewart at any time and have a discussion or get some guidance on what you need to do, whether it was related to his course or not. And I recall when I came on staff, I came on as he was going off. And I met him on the ground floor of the faculty one morning, and he said, girl, you joined the ranks. And you know, I said, yes, sir, that's a good thing. He said, good luck. I said, why you said good luck? Is a good thing or a bad thing? He said, no, it's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. I believe that Mr. Stewart is one of those people, Vice-Chancellor, that really loved teaching and really loved the University of Guyana. I recall that after, period of retirement and everything passed, as he aged, as the body aged and the mind aged, he was still coming on campus. And he would walk around, and if a student stopped him for some advice, he was there. If you need a book, matter of fact, I think I had a book for him still. But if you need a book or anything that you needed, you could go to Mr. Stewart, and he will help you. And so today, as we reflect on his life and his contribution, this is a gentleman that I believe served well, that impacted the lives of many, many people. This morning, one of my colleagues, I said, anything you want me to add about Mr. Stewart? And she basically said just what I've said. She said, if I have two words, I would say dedicated and committed teacher. Very dedicated to his work. And she also, who attended the university, Miss Henry, years before I did. And Miss Pearline Henry said to me this morning, she said, Mr. Stewart introduced the course SOC. Well, at that time it was 115 and 125, social statistics. The course was introduced during her first year. So she said, was the guinea pig batch. You know, you must have a guinea pig badge, the first badge that get in that course. And she said he wanted them to pass that course so much that apart from lecture time and tutorial time, he started holding sessions on Saturdays to make sure that everybody was able to understand. And if students missed the class, he said, come on Saturdays. He would do revision time with them and go back through everything. Now that is a committed, dedicated teacher. I know many, many of us, I see my colleague is agreeing, right? Ms. Hopkins, we would have had similar experiences. I know many of us, we do a lot and we go the extra mile. But reflecting on what the sacrifices I know Mr. Stewart made and the contributions he made to students, I can only hope to use that as an example and to continue to do well. And if we can go the extra mile, go the extra mile, because what we do impact lives forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please return the book. You know, I had a little moment when I walked across there, the photograph came up, because as we were doing this, putting it together, I saw the name Berkeley Stewart. I knew there was a Stewart, but I never knew the first name. And when the photograph went, I said, it's Stewarty, because that's the name I knew. It was Stewarty. That was... So, I mean, this was a very good time of reflection. I come to learn quite a lot more about our colleagues, and in respect to their lives, in honoring their lives, could we stand and take 1 minute of silence? May their souls rest in peace. You may have your seats. As we go forward with the program, I know we're a little bit over the original time, but we started a little late, so bear with us. This is going fairly well. We'll do some more singing. I'm sure I saw something there for some more singing. I want to recognize Dean of Fees, Ms. Linda Johnson-Bola, and the Assistant Dean, Mr. Isan Hema. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else that came in that I missed. I got to give a shout out to my colleague and friend, Mr. Samuel Lee. I'll now invite Mr. Joshua Grant. He's not from Natural Sciences. He's from the College of Medical Sciences. I think he's somebody from Health Sciences, always making noise. Yes, go ahead. All right. That's my friend. Yes, it's a Joshua Grant from the College of Medical Sciences, and he's coming to bring prayers, offer prayers for the university, friends and families of the deceased, and for peace for the nation. Mr. Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's pray. Lord, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've made, and indeed we will continue to rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for bringing us all here to this occasion where we could reflect, where we could remember the lives of those who came before us. We thank you for them. We thank you for the work that they've put in. We thank you for the foundation that they've laid. And Lord, even now with their passing, Lord, we mourn with their friends. We nation. And finally, we pray for peace, that peace would reign, your peace that passeth all understanding. Help us to really continue to work together and emulate what our motto says, one people, one nation, one destiny. So we thank you because you are the God of this universe, and we know you are the God of Guyana. We give you thanks, we give you praise. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Okay, so what is your major?
I'm a first-year med student.
And where did you learn to pray like this?
My closet.
Thank you. You pray in your closet. Marvelous.
Boy. Oh yeah. That's a brilliant response. I have to remind you of what I said earlier. We'll have a musical rendition from Miss Shante Watson, and she is a student within the Faculty of Natural Sciences, but what's really special here is she's part of the new program in food sciences. So please welcome Ms. Shante Watson as she does. He'll do it again.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You may be down and feel like God has somehow forgotten that you are faced with circumstances you can't get through. And right now it seems like there's no way out and you're going under. But God's proven time and time again He'll take care of you. He'll do it again. He'll do it again. If you just take a look at where you are now and where you've been, hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things that you're going through, and He knows how you're hurting. You see, He knows just how your heart has been broken into. But He's the God of the stars, of the sun and the sea. Father. He can calm the storm, and He'll find some way to fix it for you. And He'll do it again. He'll do it again. If you just take a look at where you are now and where you've been, hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. Yes, He's still God, and He will not fail you. And know that He's God, and He will not change. And know that He's God, and He's fighting for you. Just like Moses, just like Daniel, just like Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, He'll do it again. He'll do it again. If you just take a look at where you are now and where you've been, well, hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. You may not know how, you may not know when, you may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Thank you.
Please don't leave the microphone. Stay right there, please. Stay right there, please. Can I take this one? Can I take this one? Oh, good. Because I got a couple of questions. First, I'll come from faculty. So food science is a new thing in our curriculum. Tell us about the reason for your choice and your experience.
So I chose food science because it has always been my dream to be a nutritionist and to work with food. And so that was the course that closely related to what I wanted to do at the University of Guyana. And so when I saw that it's new, I like new things. And so I went right ahead, and chose that program. And right now I'm in my final year. And so far I came right out of high school, and I graduated during the pandemic. And so it was a big jump from high school to university online, but I found it quite endearing. It has its ups, it has its downs, but I have really enjoyed the course, and I'm excited for my final semester this year.
Great. And my second question, what's going to be the first song you sing at UG Got Talent 2024?
We'll see.
I should let you know we will have applications for UG Got Talent 2024 opening up shortly, so look out for it. Clearly, there's lots of great talent. The people from social sciences, listen, we got some threats, eh? They tell us they're coming this year, full force. So look out for UG Got Talent. And the next performer, we're going to have some saxophone music. I was a little shocked. Again, I had to ask them, you all put the right thing here? Is somebody else supposed to come? Because when I met the young lady, again, it was UG Got Talent, but she came with a guitar, very humble, very simple. She came with her guitar and sang beautifully. And then she allowed for the guitar to disappear with a little bit of discomfort, but did wonderfully too. So one of our talent ambassadors. And so when I saw saxophone, I'm like, whoa, let's do this. So please welcome Ms. Netanya Olivia Samad. She is, like I said, UGO Talent Ambassador and from the Faculty of Education and Humanities. Oh, wow. Always, always, always amazing. So, how many instruments do you actually play?
About 6. The trumpet, the accordion, saxophone, guitar, keyboard, a bit of the flute, the ukulele, a bit of the clarinet, trombone.
Are we hearing some of that at UG Got Talent 2024?
Maybe.
Apparently, it's a serious competition. Nobody's giving the other one inside. Thank you very much, Netanya. It's always a pleasure hearing you.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So did you learn to pray like that in your closet too?
Not really.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I learned
So where did you learn to pray?
at the mosque. Yeah, mostly.
And which year are you in and what are you doing on campus?
Second year biology major.
Oh, another biology major. So you have had classes on campus at any time?
Last semester, for this semester, it hasn't started yet, but
So you've had some classes on campus?
yeah, I've had before, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much. That was very uplifting.
You hear me talking a lot about UG Got Talent. They're not paying me to plug anything. I would partly have to be paying myself, right? Last year, it was phenomenal. It was lots of hard work. But every time you heard performances on stage, you went, oh, all right, it was worth it. It was worth it. Lots of hard work, but the talents that came to the stage were phenomenal. And we're going to be hearing from another talent that came to the stage very early on and unfortunately had to pull back. And I hope we'll see her coming forward again this year. Again, I remind you, I did not select these people. She is from the Faculty of Natural Sciences. They put it on the program, so I have to say it, right? And like I said, she was, I actually met her first, remembering her at UG Got Talent. Please welcome Miss Anna Forbes performing Shackles.
Good afternoon, everyone.
It's almost hot out here, you know, but I don't mind though. It was bad to be free, you know what I'm saying?
Took the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you.
In the corners of my mind, I just can't seem to find a reason to believe that I can break free. Cause you see, I have been down for so long that I thought hope was gone. But as I lift my hand, I understand that I should praise you through my circumstance.
The shackles off my feet so I can dance.
So I can dance, yeah. Just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. I can lift my hand. Everything that could go wrong, always wrong at one time. So much pressure fell on me. I thought I was gonna lose my mind. But I know you wanna see if I could hold on to these trials. But I need you to lift this load, cause I can't take it no more.
The shackles off my feet so I can dance.
So I can dance.
I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you.
I wanna praise you.
You broke the chains, now I can lift my hand.
I can lift my hand. I'm gonna praise you. Been through the fire and the rain, bound in every kind of way. But God has broken every chain, so let me go right now.
The shackles off my feet so I can dance.
So I can dance.
Whoa,
I wanna praise you.
you broke the chains, now I can lift my hand.
I can lift my hand.
And I'm gonna praise you.
Praise you, praise you, praise you. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke those chains, now I can lift my hand. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance.
I just wanna praise you.
I'm gonna praise you. You broke those chains, now I can lift my hand. Praise you. I'm gonna praise you. Thank you.
It's a very lively song.
Yes.
And we enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So, which program are you in? You're
I'm
in
doing biology.
biology. You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
So you're going to be the dancing, singing doctor.
Yes, I will.
So we're going to see you in UG Got Talent this year? Maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe. Thank you very much. That was
You're
beautiful.
welcome. Thank you.
And thank you very much. We're going to now have a bhajan. It's Keshava Madhava with accompaniments on tabla and harmonica. And it's going to be performed by Ms. Anupa Gobin and Ms. Pushpa Samaru from the School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation and the Faculty of Engineering and Technology.
Keshava Madhava Jayadeva Madhusudana Keshava Madhava Jayadeva Madhusudana कमल दल अतीव मनोहर नेत्र कमल दल अतीव मनोहर अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर देवा मधुसूदना ओ जय देवा मधुसूदना देवा मधुसूदना ओ जय देवा मधुसूदना केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना. Thank you.
One, two.
Two questions. So what was the meaning of that bhajan? It was beautiful.
It was just a song about one of our God, Lord Krishna. It was just describing how he is, because he's with the gopis, and it's just describing how he is, how he dances with them, not just how he goes about, being, yeah.
So this is very unusual to see two young women, I think, especially with one playing tabla and one playing accordion. This is amazing. So how did you guys get together? I noticed you're from two different faculties, and your sisters or something? Let me guess.
So we've been best friends for since childhood. Yeah, so since babies, basically.
I actually used to call her my cousin, but yeah, I do consider her my family. And we sort of grew up doing this together, so this was nice, yeah.
So wonderful. That's amazing. So which one is from the Faculty of Technology? You. And you want to be, what you want to be?
Well, I'm studying civil engineering, so a civil engineer.
Well, Dr. Dalrymple, gone. Is he there still? And you are from business.
Yes, I'm studying management, but I have dreams elsewhere. I would like to be a musician, among many other things, but I think that what you're studying, it doesn't matter as long as you follow your dreams, but yeah.
Well, I might have some good news for you later on in the year. All of those who want to study music at UG might get a chance to do that.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Yasmin for giving me this opportunity, and also Mr. Keon. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. And thank you for finding them for us. Come again sometime.
Thank you. And shout out to Yasmin Fazil. She's the person who interacts with all of the clubs and would have identified these two talented young ladies. Thanks, Yasmin. The next young man coming to perform, this time on piano, but I have insight. I know he plays steel pan. What else did we get at UG Got Talent, Christopher? Multi-talented, he raps, he does a lot of stuff. Please put your hands together and welcome. He's a staff member in the College of Medical Sciences, Mr. Christopher Yearwood.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, thank you. The name of the piece is Only Hope. I actually heard it first in a movie many years ago, A Walk to Remember. And in the movie, the song was sung as a romantic song, but when I did a bit more research, I actually realized that it was actually a song dedicated to God. And even as we are at the start of a new year, I know it's a time where many people make New Year's resolutions. We make a lot of plans and goals. I heard a saying that hope is the ability to hear that music of the future, and faith is the courage to dance to it right now. And indeed, hope is something that we can hold on to in the midst of even very bleak circumstances. And there's a verse that I am very encouraged by from the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 29, where God says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans to give you an expected end. And indeed, that is the hope that this song is about. The second verse, most of it I'll be playing. The second verse, the words really stand out to me. It says, sing to me the songs of the stars of your galaxy, dancing and dancing again. When it seems like my dreams are so far, sing to me of the plans that you have for me over again. And the chorus says, so I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours, for I know now that you're my only hope. I hope that this song is encouraging to you.
Gentleman had the distinction of being the only staff member who had the guts to compete last year in UG's Got Talent, and he almost won. I want to ask him, so this year, so how many instruments do you play? Because I saw him playing at least 2.
Well, I play the drums, small bit of the guitar, recorder, piano. Those are the main ones.
But I saw you with a steel pan sometime.
I was trying to think there. I won't say that I play the steel pan. I was just trying to think.
And you were singing at one point.
Yes, I
And
write
rapping at another point.
I write and record music as well. Yes.
So you coming back again this year?
When I reach that bridge, I'll cross it.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right.
Got it. Yes, we are coming towards the end of the program. And we're going to have a bhajan, Harikrishna Gopi Hari.
So you all have any more girls, any more instruments to add? So what's your name?
Urshana Prasad.
Which faculty are you from?
The College of Medical Science.
Wow, so this is a cross-faculty team here. Wonderful. And so you knew them before?
This is the first time.
The first time you're performing together? Yeah. Wow, this is the first time they're performing together. So UG does not only find you a husband or a wife, but it finds you a musical partner. Lovely. It was lovely. Congratulations. That's good.
Thank you very much, Roshana. Now, I should tell you to, clean your pipes, because we're going to be doing some singing together as we close off. But the last performance for us comes from a young man who's staff within the College of Medical Sciences. He is one of the, I have to find nice words to put it, but he is joyful. He's a, yes, he was the chief heckler at UG Got Talent. That is the truth. I believe Mr. Cheeks was a bit afraid of him. he was always at Mr. Cheeks about his judgments. But I've heard him sing multiple times. He's got a wonderful voice in ministry. So please welcome Mr. Ronald Gonzalez. He's doing Hills and Valleys by Torrin Wills.
Good afternoon, everyone. Feel free to join me if you know this song, of course. And it's not Hills and Valleys, by the way. It's another song.
You, Lord, you are worthy, and no one can worship you for me. For all the things you've done for me, and no one can worship you for me. Here's my worship, all of my worship. Receive my worship, all of my worship. Here's my worship, all of my worship. Receive my worship, all of my worship. You, Lord, you are worthy, and no one can worship you for me. For all the things you've done for me, oh, and no one can worship you for me. Oh, here's my worship, all of my worship. Receive my worship. Thank you.
So why you used to heckle Mr. Cheeks so much? Come down here, come down here.
Sound check.
Why you used to sit down in the back and heckle Mr. Cheeks so much right now? Come.
I don't know what to say.
But seriously, that was really powerful, and I think you earned the right to heckle. So, so you're gonna join the competition this year as a judge?
Sure. Why not?
Wonderful, thank you, thank you
no
so
problem,
much.
VC.
All right, as we come towards the close, like I said, make sure you sharpen your pipes, clear your pipes out. But before we get to the final singing, I'm going to invite our Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Engagements, Professor Cummings, and he will bring some brief closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good evening. You know, days dying in the West, I'm certain. What a blessing this has been, you know, as we reflected on the lives of those colleagues that would have contributed to the University of Guyana in many ways across the different specialties. You know, as I contemplate on that, what came to me is that education is something that no one can take away from you. So even though their lives were taken away, but they created a foundation for us. What we would have learned, their students and their grand students, their grand students will continue to feed on the knowledge which they would have passed on to students in different era of the existence of the university. And I think that is indeed a blessing. As we are all pilgrims, we are all passengers on a train that comes off at different stops. And while we run that train, we interact, we share knowledge, we depart. But the education which we impart remains. The institution remains. And that is, I think, one of the things, one of the take-home that we can get from this activity. And I must thank the Vice-Chancellor, all of those, DEC and the PACE and everyone else who would have contributed to putting this program together, which to me is kind of a mixed emotion, even as we mourn the loss of our colleagues, but we also celebrate their lives at the same time. And what we see is a new generation, all those artists, future academics, which tells us that the future is indeed bright. And so we wish to, and I would also say that the loss of these colleagues is not just a loss to their families, their community, their country, but a loss to each one of us, because each one of us would have interacted with them, lost university, but they would have made their contribution. And so we want to thank them wholeheartedly for what they would have done. And may God continue to bless us as a university. A lot of talented coming from natural sciences, the medical sciences. We have future doctors that can sing, that can dance, and do which is very good, the diversity. It helps you get into postgraduate education when you realize that you're not just a physician, but you can also play music and you can play the guitar and you can interact and you can socialize. It means that you will socialize very well with your patients. And I'm certain the late Dr. Hardat Prasad, who is also a very good dramatist, will be happy to know that as we celebrate his life and the life of many others, that we have future doctors following very closely in his footsteps. And so thank you all for giving me the privilege of sharing these thoughts with you, and may God continue to bless us as a university individually and collectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DVC Cummings. I'm going to ask that we stand now, and we'll close out standing. Before we go to the singing, we will together do this. We'll do the universal prayer together. I'm going to invite my brother, Reverend Dr. Noel Holder. Yes, as I mentioned, he was on the planning committee. I did recognize him earlier and say thank you very much for your insight. I think he messaged me somewhere about what time it was this morning. Very early, just because he wanted to make sure that one issue was covered. So to help lead us with this prayer.
So we'll do the universal prayer. Good afternoon to everyone. I know we had other prayers, but protocol. Together, where in the mind is without fear, and in the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where the tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of the dead habitat, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Amen.
Thank you. As you keep standing, there are a group of persons. I am not doing this, but I'm going to hand the mic over, and they'll lead us.
There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere soon make a change. We're all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Oh, send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us by turning stones to bread, and so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world, we are the children.
And when you're down, you know, there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's no way we can fall. Well, let us realize all that a change can only come when we stand together as one. Yeah, we are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice to make. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. The world, we are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice to make. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better place, just you and me.
Obviously, as soon as I take this mic, I stop singing. There are some snacks across behind the green board. It's not white. Just help yourself. Something to eat, something to drink. Thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful afternoon.